What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where in this one we're going to talk a little bit about the draft. Want to do another mock draft for you guys, going over just, again, things that I've heard. I've looked at other people's mock drafts and kind of what people think are happening as we continue to get closer to the draft. And of course, smokescreen season. That's what we hear about. There's a lot of things that you kind of have to sift through. You have to wonder, is this real information? Is this real information? But this is just me gathering everything that I'm seeing, gathering my own thoughts of what could happen. Now, I only did it for the Colts, and I did this on, I believe, Pro Football Network was where I did those at. That is right, the Pro Football Network mock draft simulator. And I even had to restart it a couple times just to try to get it to be as accurate as I could think it could be, but I didn't have time to do a full 7-round for all 32 teams. But this is what we end up coming up with. So if you enjoy the content, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe with notifications on so you get notified anytime we drop any content on this channel. But as we continue to get into this one and talking about what we do in the first round. Now, how likely is it that this scenario happens? I'm not sure, but we actually get Tyler Warren. In my last mock draft, we end up with Jihad Campbell. Jihad Campbell looks like he could slip back. There's a shoulder injury, I believe, that people are thinking he could end up going to the second round. I don't know if that's really going to happen with his capabilities and what he's going to be in the NFL. I would assume that somebody at some point in the first round is going to take a chance on him. Ends up being in this mock draft, the Rams make a trade. They end up scooping him at 22. But for the Colts at 14 to end up getting Tyler Warren, things have to go just right. I've seen the Jets being mocked to take Tyler Warren. In this, they get Shedeur Sanders again. That's probably not going to happen. It goes Cam Ward, Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, and then the Patriots take a tackle. Will Johnson goes 5, which is with the other mocks. Well, I mean, that's way different from what was happening. Mason Graham 6, which is probably going to be Ashton Jeanty if he's still there. Ashton Jeanty ends up going 11 here. Right, it's a wonky thing. And Panthers, I've seen be mocked to get Tyler Warren. They end up taking a wide receiver here instead. And then for the Cowboys and Dolphins, 2 teams directly in front of us in the draft order. And these teams could really benefit from a really good tight end coming in. And I guess the Dolphins, they have Johnny Smith, right? He started popping off for them, so I guess he's probably their guy. So I guess that takes tight end off the board for them. But when you look at the Cowboys, they're an option. But in this mock, they end up taking an edge from Georgia, Michael Williams. And all of a sudden, we end up in a situation where Tyler Warren actually falls to 14. Now, of course, this is dreamland. I hope this is able to happen. Well, it's tough to see it happening through pretty much any other mock that I've put together. We end up in a situation where Tyler Warren is not making it to the 14th pick in the first round. Here, he ends up making it. Again, this was like the most accurate. Shedeur Sanders, in quite a few of these was actually going like 9, 10, 11, right? Different trades that were happening. Some of these mock drafts looked a little wonky. And this one, not the way I would have drawn it up, but Tyler Warren falling to 14. Can't be mad at that if you're a Colts fan. Being able to snag him in the first round, then going into the second round, and you get a guy, Kenneth Graham, Michigan, defensive tackle. Now, I've done limited homework on some of these guys, and just having their scouting reports in front of me. This is defensive tackle at 6'4", 331. Again, coming from Michigan, somebody that's had some success, was under Coach Harbaugh for a couple years. And of course, with Wink Martindale at Michigan, and Michigan having a really good defense over the last couple years, like familiar with like a pro-style defense. So this is somebody that in the second round, somebody that I feel good about. Again, good size, and somebody who, I mean, really strong. Again, 6'4", 331. This is a guy that has a lot of strength. He has some good athleticism to him. He's somebody that at his size, he's not going to put in, DeForest Buckner type work as a pass rusher, but he is somebody who, for the most part, can come in. I think he's a perfect option as like a current depth piece that can play one day, right? You have DeForest and Grover, and you bring in this guy who can be a really physical presence on that defensive line. Again, a big body. He can continue to work on himself and continue to develop and be able to come in and have meaningful snaps as the season continues to go along, right? And then by the end of the season, really contributing as we hopefully getting into the playoffs. So this is somebody that I think can obviously wouldn't be getting him in the second round. You'd hope they'd have like immediate value, and it's not going to be like week one he's bringing value to the team. But I think he's a guy that if this is the way it went, we get Kenneth Grant. And with all these interior defensive linemen in this draft, go out and get a guy like Kenneth Grant, then I just think he's somebody that can add a physical presence. He's somebody that can take care of a depth piece that you need to take care of, and somebody that, again, as time continues to go, not only this season, but as seasons go along, somebody that I think can bring value with the things he's able to do, right? He's going to, obviously, as a rookie in the NFL, he's going to take a little bit of polishing and a little bit of, coaching him up a little bit, and that happens, especially with offensive and defensive linemen. So not worried about that aspect of it. Somebody that, again, I think would be a good value there in the second round at pick 45. And going into the third round in this draft, in our last draft, I had like 3 trades. We ended up with 10 picks, I think. This one, I didn't make any trades at all. Just kept the picks. Didn't really get any trades that I liked either. But for this one at 80 in the third round, we're taking Dylan Fairchild, guard from Georgia. Now this one, people are going to contest a little bit, and even I'm a little skeptical. I was just looking and, hey, what do we need? Who's available when the pick was up? And I thought that Dylan Fairchild made some sense. Now he's only played left guard, but this guy's 6'5", 318. Played for Georgia, so he's played in a lot of big-time games. He's played against a lot of NFL guys. He has a lot of experience, right? 24 career starts. So this is a guy, even this, just as I look at the notes on his scouting report, won the Georgia State Heavyweight Wrestling Championship as a junior and senior in high school with a 67-0 record. So this is a guy, he's a mauler. Like you take that right there. This is a guy that's a mauler on the inside. And whether that's, you're drafting this guy to be a depth piece, and because Q's getting older, right? How long is he going to continue to play? What's his next contract going to look like? And if the Colts are rebuilding, like Quentin Nelson needs to retire, Colt, whatever that looks like, by the way, just so we can get that conversation out of the way. Quentin Nelson needs to retire. Colton, hopefully he can play another 5 or 6 years. So Dylan Fairchild is like, if you draft a guy, like playing the left side, playing the right side, those are not the same thing. I'm not going to sit here and act like it is. But like, he's such a big physical presence. Like, is it possible to train this guy to play the right guard position? But at the end of the day, one way or another, I feel like this is something that if he's even there at 80 in the third round and you're able to pick him up, like is this somebody that you would have a plan for and that you could find value for? And what would that look like? That's really the only contest here is that, and the only devil's advocate that I can really find here is, well, this guy has never played right guard, but again, he's so big, he's so physical, he could be so dominant on the field. I think if you're able to draft a guy and you're able to move him over and try to play. Now, I don't think that we're going to draft a whole bunch of people this year through 7 picks that are going to come in and be immediate starters and immediate game changers. So am I saying, like I don't think we're solving the right guard position in the draft, right? So drafting Dylan Fairchild isn't necessarily, hey, this guy does need to step in and play right guard. It's just like, can he, right? Big physical presence again. Somebody that I think going to be really good in the NFL. If he finds himself in a good situation, I think with the offensive line coaches we have, I think he could be really good. and coming to be really good for us. Just what role could we find for him? Because again, Q needs to retire as a Colt. Okay, and then as we go forward here, next pick, this is where we get our linebacker in the draft. Honestly, probably going to mess this up, but Smael Mondon Jr., 2 picks in a row coming out of Georgia. First a guard, now a linebacker, 117 in the draft, pick 117. And this is somebody that just intrigues me because of what we need, right? We need somebody that can cover. And this is a guy that, like, as I started looking through his draft profile and different things that have been said about, like, he's really good and in coverage, able to be really sticky in coverage. And part of that is due to his size, which is a little bit of a handicap. He's 6'2", 229, so he's not small, but he needs to add some size and strength. That's really one of the big things surrounding him, adding some size and strength, because when you go up against Derrick Henry at that size, you're going to get ran over. And that's just the way it is. Like, he's really more of a big safety right now. His 40-yard dash is 4.58. So, again, kind of really a bit of a bigger safety, and kind of he makes me think of Cam Chancellor. Cam Chancellor wasn't the fastest, but Cam Chancellor was a pretty big body. He was a big-bodied safety, really big guy. Now, Cam Chancellor came in, he was aggressive, and he was a big safety. He would hit people, man. Cam Chancellor would hit people, and that's one thing that when you look at Mondon Jr., he needs to put on some size and be more willing to hit in the run game, be more willing to attack in the run game. But outside of that, like, again, situationally, like, you're drafting a guy in the 4th round, you put him in situations where he can cover tight ends and, like, they're about to pass. And so you put Mondon Jr. on the field to cover a tight end. Like, from that aspect, he could be really good. And that's where we would get the most from him right away. Now, he has had injuries, and that's a thing that goes against him for sure. But he was a 5-star recruit coming out, played at Georgia for a couple years. Somebody that made plenty of plays at Georgia, and somebody that I think can put the work in to do what he needs to do to eventually get on the field for us full time, because that time is coming sooner rather than later, in my opinion. Okay, but then to finish up here, going through these last 3 picks, and just trying to fill out depth, going with a tackle here from Indiana, Trey Wedig. This is a guy that has versatility through the line, played most of his snaps in college at tackle, but has 2 games at right guard, 1 game at left guard. So he has some versatility, has some knowledge of playing different parts of the offensive line, and that's valuable for a team like us, who we seemingly have different guys that can shift into different positions on the offensive line. Trey Wedig fits into that, especially as a later round guy. Getting him in the 5th round, somebody I think could just fit in from that aspect. When you look at him physically, 6'6", 310. I like big body offensive linemen. Just my preference. Get big guys that can be maulers, and then teach them technique. I think we have the coaches that can teach them. You just got to get the big body guys that can be dominant on the offensive line. And then at 189 in the 6th round, another late round running back. I can't remember who it was that we took in the last one, to be honest with you, but we did take I think it was the Oklahoma State running back. I'm pretty sure that we ended up taking in the 6th round in the last one. But here we take Jarquez Hunter, and this is a guy a little smaller, 5'9", 204. Now, 5'9", a little shorter, 204 for 5'9". It says a lot. This is a guy has a lot of strength. As I was reading through his profile, it honestly just kind of makes me think of Austin Eckler, right? Somebody who's a little shorter, but somebody who has some wheels. Like, just sat here and watched his 40 here, 4.45 on his first attempt. Somebody who's going 4.44 is what the NFL has listed, so I assume he just slightly beat that. I mean, somebody who has explosiveness, somebody who has a lot of lower body strength and is able to run through tackles and be able to make people miss. Like, with his size, he's shifty, but he can also like break a tackle. He can run through somebody. So somebody I think in the later rounds, somebody that really intrigued me as I was looking through the different running backs, and somebody I was willing to wait for. I wanted to take a running back a little earlier, and thought about taking one. And as I started looking through them, it's just like once I got down and started looking at his profile, it's like this kind of intriguing. I think I'll wait and draft him a little later, and it ended up working out, getting him in the 6th round. He's got to refine some things in the pass game in terms of blocking, and he's got to get better from that aspect. He gets rolled at his size. He has a lot of lower body strength. He needs to figure out how to set a good base, and he's short enough to be able to get under the way he's supposed to. And again, that's things that can be coached. I think you add him to the running back rotation, and I think he could be a valuable asset behind Jonathan Taylor for years to come, as we go past 2025 and into the future. But then for the last pick, really, I couldn't, in terms of like things we needed and in terms of what's out there, I ended up going with something that would at least be an intriguing storyline, and something that as a Colts YouTuber, it would be nice to get just an extra little storyline in the building, where you have Shiloh Sanders coming to the building. Deion Sanders' kid becomes a Colt in the 7th round. What pick was that? That is pick 232, the Colts' last pick in the draft, or at least what we're slated to have. Pick 232, we draft Shiloh Sanders, safety from Colorado, 6 foot, 195. Runs what, a 4.58, I think, is 4.54 is what his 40 time ended up being. So not blazingly fast, right? He's not Deion. Obviously drafting in the 7th round. So it's just, he's somebody who, as Deion's kid, you would assume going to be coachable. He has, inherent talent that can make him a really good player, and can make him somebody that can maybe one day develop into a guy. But in my opinion, you're drafting a guy in the 7th round, especially a safety, and especially being Deion's kid, like he could like be like a Hall of Fame special teamer, right? 4.54, a little bit of a bigger body. You're going to want him to beef up a little bit, but with his knowledge of the game and what I assume is going to be his willingness to put the work in, I think he could be somebody who could be a really good special teamer that you draft in the 7th round. So at the worst, that's what you get. And at the end of the day, that's the draft. 7 picks. We go Tyler Warren, tight end. Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle. Dylan Fairchild, offensive guard. Smael Mondon Jr., linebacker. Trey Wedig, tackle in the 5th round. Jarquez Hunter, running back, 6th round. Shiloh Sanders to finish it off in the 7th round. Shiloh Sanders, Deion Sanders' kid, becoming a Colt. Now, just if you're curious, Colston Loveland ended up going 17 to the Bengals in the 1st round of this mock draft. And just as I sit here and look, really the only other interesting note here, but that's going to do it for this mock draft. If you enjoyed this content, again, hit the like button. Helps the channel a lot. Lets me know what you guys are into and what you're not. And of course, make sure you're subscribed, have notifications on so you continue to get notified anytime we drop any content on this channel. Of course, appreciate you stopping by for another video. As always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.